There are, of course, several advantages to not drinking and not smoking anymore. The first one is I don't have to go to the duty free and spend money there. The second one is I'm able to walk much faster, and you need to be able to do that here in Dubai Airport Terminal 1 because it is massive. I'll check the steps in a minute, but I think we're already over 3,000 steps just going from getting out of the taxi to check in. And the very strange thing about traveling to Bahrain is that it's the furthest check-in desk, it's the furthest gate, and when you get off at the other end, it's the furthest luggage carousel, I am sure. I'm going to resist the temptation to go on the moving walkway. I'm going to physically walk. Those of you that know me well will know that I have OCD and I'm a little bit scared about flying, so I always get here very early. And as my brother Richard says, and he knows everything, best to get here early, relax, have a nice cup of coffee. And I went through the metal detector, which confirmed that I still have a titanium implant in my leg. So then I had to have a body search. So exciting traveling with a hip replacement. See, Chester, I listen to everything you say. EOV. So this is the Starbucks roast spectrum. So there's the departures board. There's female toilets. There's walkways, prayer rooms, everything you need here. Baby change, and lots of shops, which we avoided because shops mean spending money. There's prayer room. You can't sleep or eat in the mosque. You can buy babies here. You can get sleeping. I like this idea of memory foam. Does that mean you get on the plane and it restores your memory? Like if you have Alzheimer's, you must buy one of those. So there's 2 flights this morning to Bahrain from Dubai. One has already left and the second one is going this afternoon. Okay, let me correct my English there before someone picks me up. There's 1 flight this morning which is gone, and there's 1 flight this afternoon. That's better. I have to be so careful, you know. My viewers speak better English than I do, particularly that Miss Andrea in Bahrain, who has done all my printing for me. So this is the gate number 8, going to Bahrain. Maybe it's going somewhere else first. I didn't think that was correct because there's never normally that many people waiting for a plane to Bahrain 2 hours early. They tend to arrive about 5 minutes before the plane takes off. So gate 7, which is next to gate 8, is the Pakistani International Airways flight to Multan, and that is going before the Bahrain flight. So that's why there's so many people waiting around. So I'll let them go first, and then I'll take my seat in the lounge. That's obviously one of the problems of getting here too early if you're a poor person like me, because you have to sit in the gates waiting for the plane. So if you're here 3 hours early, that's a long time in an uncomfortable place, particularly if you've got a bad leg like me. So latest update for you on the Philippines situation is that I have now arranged an appointment tomorrow to have my medical done. From there the doctor will arrange various blood tests, x-rays, etc. that are required by the Philippine government for my retirement visa. So I'll be having them done on Thursday and probably next week. Then he'll sign off my medical. Our security superintendent, Mr. Enrique, has asked one of his colleagues to speak to the Minister of the Interior to see if I can get my good conduct certificate, which was done in February last year, extended, because it's normally only valid for 3 months. And if that's successful, then I shall go and collect that. And I also need to go to the Minister of the Interior to get both documents, the medical and the good behaviour certificate, what's called apostilled, which means it's stamped by a recognised authority in Bahrain, to then send to the Philippines to show that it's a genuine document and I haven't made it up. Well, it's now, what time is it? 12 noon, so 20 minutes we board, and the good news is that our plane is already here. Gulf Air Flight 505. And looks like it's been cleaned and the luggage is being loaded, and so shortly, once the ground staff arrive at the gate, we will be boarding. There's about 3 or 4 people there already. I did succumb finally to duty free, but only to get some gifts from my dear friends Anis and Fatima and their children, because Anis is my taxi today, collecting me from the airport. And also there is a Batil section, which are the best dates that you can buy in Bahrain, and a particular favourite of my wonderful former administrator, Mrs. Zainab Salman. So I thought I'd have to get some dates for her, but I didn't buy any alcohol, and so we're going to get ready for boarding now. Well, hello, we've landed and we're at Bahrain International Airport eating chicken nuggets and chips, and it's called Al Baik, which I've read a lot about. So you might be wondering, why am I sitting eating fried food in a restaurant at the airport? Well, guess who didn't show up on time? Anis. And I said to him, where are you? And he said, I'm on my way. Anyway, that aside, the good news is that we had a good flight with Gulf Air. We took off on time. We landed on time. That's got to be a first. There were 3 of us in a row. It was a bit tight. But then they had some seats at the back, so the guy in the middle moved to the back. So that was nice. And we had a chicken sandwich and some water and a date, all very Arabic, on Gulf Air. And then when we landed, went through, paid for my COVID test, 12 BD, and then went through passport control. No problem at all, no queue even. And when I got through the other side, I was looking for my friend Mr. Boo, who works here at Passports and Immigration, and I couldn't see him at any of the counters, and then he came running over and said, hi, how are you? He was working on the LMRA section, which is the Labour Market Regulatory Authority, which is where all incoming overseas workers, OFW, etc., have to go when they arrive. So we had a good chat, update. I haven't spoken to him for 2 months. He's been my friend here in Bahrain for 12 years now. Another person I shall miss when I leave Bahrain. So here we are at Bahrain International Airport. New, it opened in, I think, March last year, after having been built and ready to go for about a year, but because of COVID they didn't open it. It's much bigger than the old airport. So I've been eating here at Al Baik, and then on the other side behind me, excuse me, there are car hire desks, and then if I turn around the other way, oh yeah, this is beautiful. This is upstairs. This is for the departures. This is for the arrivals down here. There's parking outside, short term, and then car parks. And then there's lifts going upstairs. It's all ultra modern. It's all glass fronted. And then there's the usual arrivals board. And you can see how empty it is. Very quiet. Baggage services. That's a pharmacy. There's a Starbucks down there, exchange bureau, and everything else. But the whole airport is just absolutely deserted. And you know, we've talked many times about the problems of COVID-19 and travelling and having to get PCR tests and everything else. But I just want to tell you one thing. Let me just turn the camera around. I think now, as the countries open up, like for example, Philippines open on the 10th of February, Thailand has been doing a test and go scheme, and before that it had the sandbox scheme in Phuket. Cambodia's been open for a little while now. Now is the time to travel, ladies and gentlemen. The hotels are empty. I was chatting to someone in Palawan the other day and they said they still don't have a lot of guests there, even though they are open to foreigners now. The airports are empty. People are scared of travelling, and they've even started reducing the number of PCR tests you have, which my friend Hamza didn't want to come to Dubai because it meant too many PCR tests. So before, you used to have a PCR test before you got on the plane to go to Dubai, a PCR test when you arrived in Dubai, a PCR test when you left Dubai, a PCR test when you arrived in Bahrain, and then 2 more after that on the 5th and the 10th days. Now, well, guess what? No PCR before getting on the plane to go to Dubai. PCR on arrival in Dubai, free of charge. No PCR in Dubai before I come back to Bahrain. PCR on arrival in Bahrain, 12 BD. Took 4 minutes, and then that's it. No quarantine. I also heard from my good friend Carl Max, who's just about to head off to India. Have a great time in India, Carl. To tell me that Bahrain has changed the green level today, which means that you can go in the malls, you can eat in the restaurants, everything is open up once again. So I think, possibly COVID is easing off. I don't think it's gone, it's still around. So let's pray, inshallah, that things are getting better, and I'll soon be able to go to the Philippines. So I'm going to finish my chicken nuggets and my chips, which are wonderful, and then I'm going to call my chauffeur Anis. He'll come back round again, and we'll head off to my apartment in Hit, and I'll just finish the video off there because I want to show you the view. Hopefully I have the same apartment I had last time, up on the 13th floor looking out over the sea. But I'll let you know once I get there. Take care. Bye for now.